From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon and welcome to your MTN Noon News for this Tuesday. I'm Hailey, Monaco. We begin with new developments on a serious crash involving the MSU Billings cross-country team. Now, one athlete is cited for negligent driving, while another remains hospitalized after a van carrying team members went off the road in Washington State. Washington State patrol troopers say 21-year-old Cicely Eagleton was driving south on State Route 127 near Dusty when she became distracted, veered off the road, and hit an embankment and driveway. All 6 athletes in the van were hospitalized. 2 were airlifted with serious injuries. Now, 5 have since been released, but 1 remains in a Spokane area hospital. Despite the crash, MSU Billings says the Yellow Jackets still plan to host their meet on Friday. And this afternoon marks 4 days after that crash. Now the MSU Billings school community is reacting to the news. And MTN's Isabel Spartz was on campus Monday hearing from students as they look to support their fellow student athletes during this difficult time.
At MSU Billings,
I feel like sports is a huge thing here at MSUB.
It's a tight-knit sports community with over 200 total competing in fall, winter, and spring sports.
I feel like the athletes have really good connections, and that's something that just shows what our school is.
As far as like athletes and coaches go, I'm so close to every single one of them.
But an accident over the weekend has left many on campus shaken. 6 members of the boys and girls cross-country teams were injured in a vehicle crash near Dusty, Washington.
I was kind of just shocked. I didn't really honestly believe it at first.
All suffered various injuries, according to Communications Director Dan Carter. According to Washington State Patrol, the driver was a student athlete and was cited with negligent driving.
It's wild to think that these teams are so small that you're taking vans to go to your meets that are in Walla Walla, Washington.
After hearing about the accident, track and field and cheerleading athlete Aiden Johnson worried for his own friends on the team.
Very close friend that I had on the cross-country team. All I remember is just thinking, like, man, that really could be anyone on any day, and you just have to put prayers up for honestly everybody on the entire team. And I'm just so glad everyone is okay.
The school will also host its invitational meet on Friday, but it also emphasized that the safety of the athletes is of utmost importance and are focusing on their recovery moving forward.
I just want the cross-country team to know that we'll be keeping them in our prayers and hope that everything just settles out well for them.
In Billings, Isabel Spartz, MTN News.
The Turning Point USA Tour is coming to Montana State University in Bozeman tonight. The Turning Point tours have continued after the assassination of its founder, Charlie Kirk, at a Utah college campus. Now, tonight's event was scheduled before Kirk was killed, set to take the stage at the Brick Breeden Fieldhouse, and it has a roster of speakers that are listed as making appearances, including Governor Greg Gianforte. Now, the MSU police chief says his officers have been planning security for several weeks.
We've ratcheted up our security posture for this event, just knowing that the risk level is much higher now, and we've gone through our standard planning process. We've partnered with the FBI and our local fusion center in Montana through MADIC to do a lot of monitoring, social media monitoring, and things of that nature.
Chief Stanley would not give exact numbers, but says there will be a significant increase in the amount of officers they have that have been previously deployed for similar events. Now, doors open at the Brick tonight at 5, and the event begins at 6:30. The government shutdown continues to stretch into week 2, and there is still no sign of movement from either side. Now, it's a shutdown that all those associated with Yellowstone National Park are watching closely. Currently, the national parks remain open, but half of the staff are furloughed. Now, on Monday, Montana Congressman Ryan Zinke visited Yellowstone National Park as the funding freeze rolls on, and MTN's John Shearer was there and has more.
Zinke walked and talked with Park Superintendent Cam Shawley as they strolled through Mammoth.
I talked to the superintendent and make sure things are running well, and they are. So our parks are open. We got about a month left to come visit.
Then The two walked into the public restrooms.
When I was secretary, I always said leadership starts at making sure the expectation and experience of a park is brilliant. It should be the best ever.
They met with some park employees who are still on the job and then put on the gloves.
The former secretary and congressman and the superintendent are out there. I tell you, the bathrooms were spotless.
Shawley says about half the National Park Service staff is on the job. The other half are on furlough. If the government shutdown drags on, neither group will get a paycheck in as little as 2 weeks.
There's been other shutdowns where the parks have been closed. They've had put chain link fence around monuments. In this case, the parks are staying open, which is an economic driver for those gateway communities.
Now, this is a slower time of year for the park. Only about 6% of total yearly visitors come during the month of October. But during the shutdown, businesses like the Mammoth Springs Hotel here remain open. And business people I've spoken to tell me that this is important as they ramp down to the closure before the winter season begins.
I do not represent the entire business community when I say that I would advocate to shut the park down, because right now we have understaffed resources that are here to protect the park, and even my role of connecting people into the space depends on the federal employees who are here to be able to protect the resource, to engage with the public.
Some groups, including former park managers and superintendents and the National Parks Conservation Association, are urging the Park Service to shut the doors.
Every single person in Yellowstone is critical to making sure the park is safe and accessible to visitors. So operating with a skeleton crew and a limited budget is not sustainable.
For MTN News, I'm John Shearer in Yellowstone National Park.
And good Tuesday afternoon, everyone. Taking a live and beautiful look outside, looking at Missoula. Wow, there's not a cloud to be seen right now. A cool 49 degrees, but still very nice for this time of year. And we're going to have that temperature rising as we head toward the Butte area. Also, lots of sunshine, a little bit of snow in the mountains, as you can see. Also 49 degrees the noon hour. We head to Bozeman, slightly warmer. No one has really strong wind right now. Currently 50 degrees in the Bozeman area. Then we head further to the south into the Cody, Wyoming area. We already have snow in the Beartooth. More snow is coming our way. Not today, though, but it is in the forecast. I'll let you know coming up in a few minutes.
The man accused of killing his girlfriend in the Bozeman Walmart parking lot has changed his plea to guilty. Prosecutors say Christopher Foley's killed 34-year-old Megan Stedman and her dog in their RV. Stedman had been missing since December 2023. According to court documents, Foley's admitted to killing her while being questioned by police in Idaho Falls a few weeks later. Now, Foley's was facing 6 charges related to Stedman's death. Last week, Foley's pleaded guilty to deliberate homicide as part of a plea deal. Prosecutors are asking Foley's be sentenced to 60 years in prison, and sentencing is set to take place on November 25th. And in Helena this week, 2 state lawmakers are suing Montana's Fish and Wildlife Commission, claiming it is not doing enough to reduce the state's wolf population. Representatives Paul Fielder and Shannon Maness, both Republicans, are among the plaintiffs in a suit filed in Sanders County. Fielder sponsored a 2021 law that directs the commission to reduce the wolf population in this state to a sustainable level. Now, during a meeting in August, the commission increased the number of wolves that can be harvested statewide, but did not extend the length of the wolf hunting season. The plaintiffs argue the current regulations will significantly impact wolf numbers and indicate it violates state law and infringes on constitutional rights to trap and hunt. There's a growing list of organizations trying to get constitutional amendments onto the Montana's 2026 ballot. Now, that includes one proposal to revise the ballot measure process itself. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian has the latest on where these proposed amendments stand.
The Montana Constitution gives the public the right to pass laws and constitutional amendments through ballot measures. But some advocates say in recent years, the state legislature has passed laws that make it more complicated to exercise that right.
They've implemented exorbitant fees in order to file initiative, which I think is meant to deter the average Montanan from participating in the process. They've layered in a lot of bureaucracy and administrative rigmarole meant to make it harder for signature gatherers to gather signatures and generally kind of gum up the works.
S.K. Rossi is representing the group Montanans Decide, which has announced it will seek to qualify an amendment to go before voters in 2026. It would call for the right to propose a ballot initiative to include, quote, reasonably ample time to collect signatures, quick resolution of legal challenges, and preventing, quote, unjustified burdens on signature gathering.
We know that Montanans care deeply about their ability to propose and vote on laws that affect their lives, and this is our effort to make sure that happens.
And this is far from the only group trying to get something onto the 2026 ballot. In fact, the Montana Secretary of State's office reports another 5 active efforts to qualify an initiative. One of those is Constitutional Initiative 131, which would amend the Montana Constitution to ensure political party labels aren't allowed in judicial elections. Attorney General Austin Knudson's office cleared that measure to begin gathering signatures, but they modified the proposed language that would appear on the ballot. The sponsors of CI 131 are suing, claiming the new language is prejudicial and misleading. There's also a second campaign proposing an initiative on nonpartisan judicial elections, and they're also supporting the lawsuit. A spokesperson for Knudson's office said the Attorney General, quote, looks forward to defending his proposed ballot language that clearly explains the implications of nonpartisan elections. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.